Q&A time! I'm Buster the Fox, and welcome back to another episode of the HaHaCienda, where the giggles are many. In the last episode, we made this semi-wonderful pack loader. Semi-wonderful because it kinda doesn't work, but it worked well enough. Now, in the ending of the last episode, I was freaking out about how it wasn't loading in the packs right, in the correct slots or anything, and it wasn't being consistent, and I was like, oh no, this is totally not what I wanted. But then I realized that some packs are going to go in like, where's a good example? There's one. See, this one looks like it only has 4 cards in it, but really, it has all 6, it's just that the first 2 cards it has 2 copies of. So I forgot about the whole thing where they're gonna stack together, so it kind of ruins the effect either way, so it's fine, it's fine. So I have 50 fully filled packs right here, and I have another 50 over here, all colored and renamed, which is why I only have 8 levels. Luckily, red and yellow dye are really easy, since I have infinite bone meal with my epic mob farm, and you can just use bone meal on the the flower things, you know, the sunflowers in the rose bushes, so I got plenty of those. I had to do a lot of AFKing at the Enderman grinder, but it worked out in the end. And also, in here, you can see I've got a lot of red and yellow stained glass for doing the so-called Hermitron-style packs hidden around the server. That's what these 2 are for. I made just enough cards, which is, there's 50 cards in the base set, just about, and I made 12 copies of each card, which means there's 600 cards total. And since there's 6 cards in each pack, that means that 600 divided by 100 equals 6, right? So, you know, anyone who is able to do the math will be able to do the math, and they'll know 50 packs to hold every single card that I made in the box. So yeah, that's all the packs completed. So what next? Really, all I can think of is stuff regarding this, which it's the playmat. It's the game board. I don't need to hide it. That's what we're going to be building this episode. And then we just need to start building the redstone underneath the shop so people can actually buy these packs right here. And yeah. Oh, but I do want to show you one thing, because this reminded me. You guys will get to see what's in this pack, I guess. But here's Hino's Tomahawk. This is just a random skill. I haven't actually posted how to play the game yet. I guess I'm going to have to do that soon. Oops. But anyway, this is a card that lets you deal 4 damage to your opponent. So right now that's not important for you to know, but for later, that is going to be kind of important. Because, well, you'll see when I get there. So I'll show it to you when I show it to you. Alright, so I've cleared out a little area here. I've got it right next to the shop, which is, you know, where we're going to build the game board, because, you know, where else would we build it? This is the most convenient place to do it, so I've got some stuff in my inventory, and I've got some shulker boxes here. This is my dye box, for which I want lapis lazuli blocks to do a little bit of buildy bits. That's just for if I run out of iron, because this is going to take a lot of iron. Now out of here, I need some of that and some of that to start off with. Anything else? I'm looking on my other screen because I've got a reference. I need 1 button. Those are going to come later. In fact, I'm going to need some signs. Some extra signs beyond what I have, I think. Signs, cool. Alright. So I'll put those over there. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to decide the center point, I suppose. You know, it probably doesn't matter. The first thing I want to do is I want to place 2 of those right there. The button goes in the middle there, and then there's like a bunch of signs that I have to place. I'll do that part later. For now, let's actually build the actual thing. So, there's those. So we need 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then boom, 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 boom. This is the actual play field, where you're going to place your cards. Of course, I'm going to need a lot more item frames than this, as you'll see soon. Then we need to do 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was not correct. Pow. Alright, and this is going to go here. Nope, nope, not like that. This is going to go here as well, but we only want to put a item frame on that. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so let me quickly describe what this is. So these top three are going to be your creature card zones. This is where you place creatures on the field. As you can see, there's a limit of 3, which was inspired by the mobile game Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Same with this. This is for skills. Really only for ongoing skills, since those are the only things you actually keep on the field permanently. But if you have all 3 of them filled, then you can't play any more skills because, you know, it's full. That's also the same concept of up here. It's, you know, there's only 3. This is for your power, which is sort of like in Hearthstone, you have a hero power that you can activate once per turn. This is where you're going to have your power. You start with that in the game, and then you can just use it once per turn. So that's where that goes. This is going to have a sign on it that tells you what all this stuff is. This is the actual game field, these 3. This is your power, and these are for your mana. Not your mana! Oh my gosh. I made that mistake in the last episode. It's not called mana, it's called energy in the game. I guess for the sake of understanding, I could call it mana because that's what everyone else knows. But this is for your energy tokens, which are going to be sticks, which is convenient because they kind of look the same. I don't have a stick on me. Kind of like I can use my disco stick to demonstrate. So pretend this is a stick. It's the name. So it's face up, right? And then you do like that, and then it looks sideways, and then you do that, and ignoring the arrow bits, if you just look at the stick, it looks the same, even when it's not rotated in like the direction you would expect. I don't know. So yeah, that's the general gist of it. All these 10 are for your energy. You have a maximum of 10 energy. That's for your power, that's for your creatures, and that's for your skills. And that's going to be on both sides. So we're going to have 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then that 2. Power, energies, and there we go. And then this is going to be, like I said, a sign. We're just going to build up a little bit, and then that's the center portion. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And then same on this side, yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, now we want to encase this like so. Whoops, no, I keep doing that. Okay. So, there we go. That's what it's going to look like. Maybe I should make that go all the way up. That's the one part I haven't really finished yet. But anyway, these redstone lamps are the current iteration of the life counter. So what I want to do is place levers on all of these blocks. Now, this is the one thing I need your guys' input on, but that's for later. Right now, this is a super manual thing. Okay, so with exception to that, this is pretty much how I wanted it. I will show you the quote-unquote original that I'm referencing on my testing world in a little bit here, but first I want to finish what I have here. Take that. So satisfying to do that. Anyway, so back here there's going to be some redstone. Obviously it doesn't do anything right now because I haven't done any redstone. But this is going to be the coin flipper. This is going to be heads and that's going to be tails. What you're going to do is you hit this button and it'll either light up heads or it'll light up tails. And then you can do it again. And it'll choose it at random. Pseudo-random, whatever, because it's using a dropper and a hopper to do a randomizer back there. And I know somebody is going to mention, oh, it's not actually random, it's pseudo-random, actually. Yeah, can you tell I don't like it when people do that? It's stupid. Whatever, it's random. You won't be able to tell. Anyway, so let's talk about the life counter here. So this is where I'm going to need my signs. It's hard to see on the other screen because it's kind of really zoomed out. But anyway, here we do 1, 2, no, that's a 3. 3, and so on and so forth until the end, until it's 9. And 8, and it's going to go down. So what this is the way this looks, you can see there's 2 rows, right? Now every time you turn on a lever, it'll turn on just one lamp. If I had it on top of the lamp, you'd see it would turn on a whole bunch right next to it, which is no good, which is why they have to be up and down from them. So the top row is supposed to be like the tens digit, and the bottom row is the ones digit. So say you flick on the 2 and nothing else. If there's nothing on here, that means it's 0. So if it's just the 2, that means you have 20 life, right? Now, if you were to take 3 damage, then you would turn on the 1 and the 7. I should really finish this real quick. This would be the 1 slot. So now you can see there's a 1 on the top one and a 7 on the bottom one, which means you have 17 life. Now, as manual as this is, it doesn't look very cool, but it's very functional. See, that's the good thing about this. If you were to play, for example, a deck that made you gain a lot of life, you could go all the way up to 99 life. That's the maximum amount of life you can have. Right now, the tentative life total that you start with, I'm going to go sleep, is 20. So you start with 20 life, each player does, and then you fight until one player reaches 0 life, right? That's how it generally works. That's the win condition anyway. And if you want to, you can get up to 99 life, which that's going to be important for later, but I'll get to that when I get to that. Alright, I've got all the signs in place, as you can see, all the numbers. And other than that, we just have Strife Champions. Just, in case you didn't know what this was for. And then this is the coin flipper. You hit the button and that's heads and that's tails. I don't care if you think I should make this heads and that tails. I mean, not that I really expect anyone to really say that, but, someone might say that. I don't care. Anyway, and then this makes it clear that this is the battlefield, this is where your power goes, and this is the energy reserve, in case, you didn't know. Oh, and here's another cool thing that you can do now. Aha! Makes little sounds whenever you summon a monster. Although in this case I'm summoning redstone comparators, but that's because of a little bit of a redstone thing that we have right here. As some of you may or may not know, okay, so the item frame are on the other side of this block. It's connected to this block, and comparators, I can't talk right now apparently. Comparators are able to read the signal of items that are inside of an item flame through through the block. They're able to read a signal from that, right? And then they push through there, and then it goes into this here note block. And I have all 3 tuned the same. Nice little chord, I think. I don't know. I just want them all to sound like, cool whenever you summon it. So I'm kind of addicted to Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, which is now on PC, which is why I've been streaming it a lot even. Yeah, it's very grindy, so it's just a good reason for me to play it even more. But in that game, every time you summon a monster, it's all like, and it's just so cool, Even though I've been playing it for so long, it's just always so cool. By the way, I hate the grass blocks everywhere. The grass, I swear, these tall grass, it's the worst block in the game, I swear. It looks better when it's just flat without grass, in my opinion. I know I'm the minority in that case, but I'm the minority in a lot of things, actually. At least as far as opinions go. But since this is my build, we are going to have less grass. Anyway, now we're going to do some redstone. For this coin flipper, I bet you're interested in how it works, because it's a little bit more complicated than you might think it needs to be. So on the other side of this block is the button, and we're going to have a dropper right here with a hopper in it, or, facing into it, and then we're going to have a shovel, and then just any old block. I'll just put in a grass block, it doesn't matter. Now, I'm going to start building this from my testing world. So the way we do is like so. Right, I need note block there, and then note block there. I'll have to tune those off camera because I don't know what tuning those are supposed to be on. But then we go here, and then we need a bunch of iron blocks here like this. No, stop it. Stop it. Right here I need a comparator facing the other way. Not that way. There we go. That should do it, right? Yeah, that's right. Okay, now, actually, that's also not right, actually. Because that needs to be not there, but here. Alright. And as expected, just like before, I am copying this off of my testing world. So that's going to be 3 ticks, that's going to be 2 ticks, then that's going to be 1 tick, then this, 1, 2, 3, 4 ticks. Alright, now I need to get my redstone dust, please. Alright, so that goes here and here. Righto. Okay, now underneath here, I need this. Okay, so this block actually needs to not be here. So we go redstone, 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 then redstone up like this. Alright, and then it connects like that. And then we have 1 repeater here, 4 ticks, and 1 repeater here, 1 tick. Okay, and then we do like this, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe that is all there is to it. So the way this works is, as you may or may not know, the shovel that's in there will give a larger signal length because it's an unstackable item. However, the dirt block or the grass block that I put in there will only put out a signal length of 1 because it's a stackable item up to 64. So what you do is you hit the button, and every time you hit it, the dropper will pseudo-randomly shoot out one of those 2 items that's in there, and so it's a 50-50 randomizer basically. So if it is the grass block, then it goes into here. It does not go there because it only gets the signal length of 1, and then it simply goes around and hits this one, which is heads. Is it heads or tails? That's tails, actually. It really doesn't matter, does it? It just matters what I tune these to, which are currently exactly the same. But if it is the shovel, that's where the magic comes in. So obviously, this doesn't need to be like this if I just wanted to give an input on one of them. But I want to give an output on both occasions. So what we do is, if it's the shovel, it'll give a signal length of, I don't know how much, but it's more than 2. So it'll go here. While this is delayed, it'll, first of all, it'll go here, and before this goes around there, it'll shoot off this one, which will tell you, oh, it was heads, and then this observer will see that that's changed, shoot the signal over here, and then go into this repeater, and because it hasn't gone into any other repeaters, this is all instant, but that locks this repeater, okay? That's the big magic thing. So that means that the signal that's being delayed right here doesn't get through, and it doesn't tell you that it's tails, it only tells you that it's heads. And then the hopper will put the shovel right back down in there. Let me show you it in action, I guess. I don't want to break through for fear of breaking stuff, but you'll see heads, heads, tails, 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 heads, and you can see it works pretty well. It's about 50% of the time. I mean, kind of. In practice it is. You know, you'd need a bigger test rate than just like however many presses I just did. But the cool thing is, with a stone button, you can just hold right click and it'll give you outputs. Now you'll notice, because of all the delay I had to do, that tails comes out slower. If it's heads, it'll come out much sooner, but if it's tails, you'll know. Like, if you get a feel for the timing. Yeah, you can sort of tell, but it really doesn't matter to me, because it works, you know? So, yeah, that's pretty simple. I wish I could compact this more so that it didn't jut out at the side like this, but as it is, it works. The thing that made me have to jet it out is because this has to be like this in order to turn off this repeater. You either have to power it from the side with a repeater or a comparator to actually lock the repeater here, which meant it was necessary for me to do this, and of course I can only power a comparator or repeater from the back like this. So I'm not sure how you would lock the repeater in keeping with the 3 wide stuff. I prefer to have things, you know, consistent as far as the size of it, so that you can slot stuff in if you want, you know, in your own builds. But for now, this works the way it works. It's fine. Maybe could make it smaller somehow, someday. I don't know. But that's how that works. Anyway, the next thing we need to do is the last thing regarding the redstone before I'm going to show you a few ideas I have in the testing world, and that is the actual deck shuffler. Alright, so the deck shuffler is a little bit more complicated, and yes, you did hear me right, it is a deck shuffler, not just a deck holder or whatever. So the way this works is we have this and this, like here. We need a dropper, I believe, right here. I've got a bunch of redstone behind this that I need to do, but this is basically how it's going to look. I want to get rid of all of this, just for the sake of aesthetics. There, okay. Now we want to get that, and put the iron blocks right there. Alright. Now, right down here, we're going to have a button. That's going to be the button you press to actually shuffle the deck. And then, so down here. Alright, so how am I going to make this work? Whoop. Ghost block? Yes. Stupid ghost blocks. When are they going to fix that bug, eh? Hopefully in the next update. Okay, I figured it out again. Last time I built it down one block, and this time I built it off by one. So instead of here and here, it needs to be here and here. There we go. It's fixed. It's fixed. Anyway, we placed the two droppers facing into each other right here. Underneath them are two hoppers, one running into that one and that one running into the dropper right there. Alright, now that you're all caught up, this is the actual dropper that's going to have your cards in it. So this is your deck, basically, and the droppers behind it are sort of also like your deck, but whatever. You push that and it'll randomly shoot you out a card, but that's getting ahead of myself a little bit. So first thing I need to do is I want to place a block back here. Alright. Now I want to do like that and that. This, and all of this as well, and that right there. So what we do is we do that with the comparator, with the subtract mode. Then we go like that, and that, and that, and that, and that. And then we have this up like this, and we have two repeaters. Now what we need to do is there's a little thing above this for actually loading your cards in. So up there we place a chest and a chest. Okay, for a second episode in a row now, I'm sorry for all the jump cuts. I now know why people don't do redstone on camera very often. It's hard. Anyway, we need those right there first. That's what was getting me confused. And then we need those right there. So what that does is that'll power those blocks, which will power these hoppers, which, you know, will make them not able to take any blocks down. And then these will power these hoppers. Now these should be powered by default. And the way we're going to get that done is like so. And then we need 1, 2, like that. Yeah, that looks right. And then we have another torch right here. So by default, these will be powered. So this will act like a trap chest, right? It won't be able to pull down the items. So while you're loading stuff in, you'll be safe, so to speak. Now, is that it done? I think this is the thing done. So, alright, let me go over how this works then. You hit the button. It'll turn on the comparator clock, which will turn this off, right? So it'll stay off for as long as the fade out goes. That'll turn this on. Now, because this is on a... Oh, I did miss something. Because this is on a comparator clock, the, you know, super fast tick, 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 tick thing, it'll power both of these redstone lines. So it'll power those blocks, which will then power the dropper, and it'll do that for both of them simultaneously. At the same time, this being on will turn this off, which means this stuff will just turn off. So it'll allow the items to go down into the hoppers and then into the droppers. But there's repeaters underneath this block, and this redstone right here also powers those repeaters, which reminds me I made a mistake. Those have to be on 1 tick. So this powers it, and then since those are on 1 tick, it means they stay on instead of turning off. That would have been annoying to find out later. But yeah, that prevents them from being pulled out of the droppers and put into here prematurely. And so it just does that for a little while, and it shoots the items back and forth in the droppers, which randomizes them a lot. And then once the fade out runs out, that'll stop, and then that'll start again, etc. So once this stops, then the hoppers down there will take the items out of here and put them into here. and then this is going to be like this. It's going to be covered up. Don't worry about the fact that they just got block updates. It doesn't affect anything when you're actually using the thing. So why don't I demonstrate, I suppose, hopefully without doing anything crazy. So I'll put in 9 different stackable items, we'll say. So that's just the entire bottom row here. That and that. Let's try that. Alright, so just remember lever, lapis, and grass block. If this thing wasn't working, then they would come in here, lever, lapis, and grass block. It probably might do that anyway, disclaimer, just because of the random nature of this thing. But if I've built it right, we should be able to do this. Now, the lights being on tell you that it's being shuffled currently. And you can see that all the stuff is shooting between them. And then as it turns off, everything shuffles out of there. And then it'll go in here, and you can see it's all shuffled up. And then you hit a button, and the dropper obviously will choose to shoot out a random card or item, in this case, at you. So it's very cool. So what you do is you take your cards, which will probably be in a shulker box, you place it down like right there, open it up, and then get your cards out. You place your power in here, because that, you know, you start the game with that. I hate, by the way, that you can't middle click to pick block on an item frame, or any other entity for that matter, but anyway, you place it there, you get all your cards, you put it in there, and then it stays in there. So if you accidentally forgot to get your power, you can go, oh, take that out, you know, whatever, and then you hit the button, and then we walk away because it's loud, because I didn't put anything in there. It shuffles for a little while, and then once it turns off, it'll start putting all your crap in this deck right here, and then you just hit the button, and that's how you draw a card. Now, these two, this is for energy tokens, so this is going to be full of renamed sticks that you use in here. And this is going to be your graveyard, so every time a card gets destroyed or leaves the field, it goes into the graveyard, or / discard pile, whatever you want to call it. But in this game, it's called the graveyard. Alright, here it is. It's finished. Both sides have the redstone in. Obviously, this is somewhat unfinished. In fact, I'd like to make an arena for this in the future. You know, just, this is sort of the most basic thing as far as how it looks and stuff. But anyway, we have 2 functioning deck shufflers, and yes, I did test them both. So the signs, basically instructions, place deck cards. Oh, I misspelled that. I'll have to get rid of that, but I'll do that in a sec. Place deck cards in chest, so you place all your decks, or, you know, your deck in there. Press button to shuffle, which is this one. Remember to remove your power prior to shout. Another typo, oh my gosh, I must be very tired after all. But yeah, you put your power in here, you never shuffle it, that's part of how it is. And then this is the shuffle button. And if the lights are on, then that means the thing is shuffling. That's the whole reason I added the lights. And then this is your energy tokens. This is your graveyard. And I renamed a whole bunch of sticks to energy tokens. So now I can show this off, actually. So you put the energy token in here, and then you have it face up like this, right? And then you right-click it twice. That's tapped. Then you right-click it again, and suddenly it's back up to being vertical, even though it's technically upside down right now, which... it's technically actually a little bit off to the right, and if you have it the other way, it's off to the left a little bit, comparatively. Like, say I'll have my mouse cursor on that. Never mind, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, you can see it works. It looks pretty good. Oh, these are all energy tokens also. These are my extras, because I also filled this other one up with energy tokens, and it's just 1 token per thing. Since the max is 10... it doesn't really matter, but it looks better to have the whole thing full. And I guess in the end, since these can stack, they'll probably end up just being like 10 in the middle here, maybe. I don't know, I just think it looks better to do that. I don't know. Anyway, that's that done. So now I have a few things I want to show you in my redstone testing world before we end off the episode here. What I'm here to show you is some redstone that I worked on to try to make the life counter a bit more cool. It's a lot less functional. As you recall, this one goes up to 99. And this is also a good time to remind you of the card Hino's Tomahawk that I showed off earlier that reduces your opponent's life by 4. Okay? So I have 2 different counter designs. That's one, and that's another. This is one we could use. Oh, there's a cat. Hello, cat. So this is a counter. It goes up to a maximum of 13. because the way it works is it has shovels in here, which as many I must be tired. I'm going to go to sleep after this. But anyway, as many of you may know, redstone signal length can only go up to a maximum of 15. So that kind of limits the way these sorts of counters can work. And because I have to use 2 redstone to get it up to this comparator right here, that means that I can't actually get up to the full 15 signal length. I can only go up to 13. Now, there's a bit of extra redstone trickery under there, but let's say I hit up. It'll go from 3 to 4, and 4 to 5. And if I were to hit down, it'll go 5 to 4, 4 to 3, and you'll hear some clicking because of the redstone wizardry. It goes up a dropper tower, and then goes in here to be stored. And then it basically lets 2 shovels in whenever you want it to go up, and it lets 2 shovels out of here whenever you want it to go down. That messes with the signal length and makes it work, you know. The problem with this, if we were to implement this as a life counter for Strife Champions, we would have to lower the starting life count to 10, okay? And I feel like that works because part of the idea when I was designing this game is I wanted it to be fast. Like, games wouldn't drag on forever and ever and ever. And 20 life seemed like a good idea at the time. However, games do kind of drag on a little bit. In my playtesting anyway. I can't say that I've tested it with more than just myself. I tested it with my brother Rocky once, and that was in an early incarnation. So I've only done a little bit of playtesting with my own decks and stuff. And while this is really cool as a counter, it doesn't go up very high, and it's kind of slow. But it's still cool. It's also exactly 3 blocks wide, so it slots into a wall really cool. And I feel like having this sort of system would look a lot cooler than just the manual thing. Even though this can go up to 99 in theory. I mean, not even in theory, it just literally can. Look, proven, it can go to 99. But it's so manual, it just doesn't look as cool, you know? And then there's this over here. This, how I built it, can actually go up to 15. Now, this is actually 2 copies of the same exact thing, just mirrored twice. The way this works is, well, as you can see, this is supposed to be the 1s, and this is supposed to be the 10s, as you can see by the 10 and 20 and 30. And then it has from 0 to 9 on each one. And this is just the same thing mirrored twice. It's also very complicated. I mean, kind of. I had to do all this to keep the signals separate so I could make it tileable. But the way this works is, let's say you have 20 life. So you hit 2, it'll turn off any other lamp that's here. Oh. Okay, I'm not sure what happened there. Alright, well it was consistent before, and it seems to be consistent again, so whatever. It'll turn off any other lamp and turn on whichever one you chose, right? So it'll turn that off, and it's unaffected by this because this one is a completely separate contraption. So let's say you have 20 life, so you'd set the 1s to 0, and you'd set this one to 2, or, you know, 20. So that's 20 life, and then you lose 4 life, you set that one to 10, and you set this one to 6. That's kind of how that was planned to work, but this thing on its own, especially since it juts out a little bit, is just about as long as the actual, you know, thing itself. Since these are stacked on top of each other like that, you can have them like that. But here, this is kind of a bulky contraption. It goes down really far. So there's really no feasible way for me to make this, you know, stacked on top of each other the way that is. So the only way I'd be able to do this is to put one of these on each side. Now, this only goes up to 9. Of course, it starts at 0, which means it goes to 10. And once again, due to signal length stuff, because of this reset line up here, this is the line that resets all of the ones. So when I hit this one, that reset line up there is what's responsible for turning off this redstone lamp. Otherwise, it would just stay on. So, yeah, this can only go up to 15, which means, of course, I can only make this go up to 15. And because the 0 is involved, Well, I suppose if I were to make it go up to that high, I would just make this a 1 and then 0 would just not exist. But it would be able to go up to a maximum of 15, okay? And with the 0 it would be 14. That also means that we'd have to lower the life total to either 0, or not 0, 10, or possibly 15. But the problem with both of these designs, I'm okay with lowering the life total to 10 or even 15 for that matter. I was considering throwing around the idea of going to 12 since this one can only go up to 13. But what if you want to do a life gain deck? By the way, life gain decks are stupid in pretty much any game unless there's a win condition card involved, but there isn't one in this so far. So it's kind of stupid, but anyway, you could feasibly go up to 99, and that's like the life cap with this. And since you start at 20, it's really not going to be easy to get to 99, not really feasible at all. However, with this, you can't go very high, because it can only go up to 15. And also, this takes a lot of supplies, and I don't really want to build it on the server. But at the same time, it's kind of it takes 2 droppers per slice of the piece here. But this is what I need you guys' opinions on. Do you guys care if you can't go all the way up to 99? Do you care if there's a life cap of like 15 or maybe even 10? But that's what I need your opinion on. What life counter do you like? The simple, not as cool manual one, but that can go all the way up to 99? Or the much cooler loading bar one, or the instance choose whatever life total you're at one, but it can only go up to a max of 15 or 13 for that one? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. There's a reason I left this for last, because I want it to be fresh in your minds. And also, I'll put a poll in the top right hand corner, you know, with the iCard, to leave a vote. Do you want the 99 counter, the 15 counter, or the 13 counter? In fact, I'll call that the horizontal counter, and this is the vertical counter, and that's the original counter. So leave your vote. I really want to know, because I spent a whole lot of hours designing this thing, and I think it'd be really cool to use, but it would also introduce a cap to the amount of life you could ever have. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this episode. Do remember to vote. Coming next is the card shop redstone, which is all this, which I'm going to have to replicate this 3 times, but that's for later. That's for next week's episode. So thank you guys ever so much for watching. Please look forward to the next episode. I've been Buster the Fox. As you can see, I'm not wearing armor because creative mode. But yeah, please remember to leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe before you go. But until next time, goodbye everyone. It's nighttime.